All right, everybody. Hello, good evening. Maybe. There we go. Evening, everyone. I'm Professor McCoy. Welcome back to the Wind Waker. All right. Let's get into it. I've been recently just getting ready for classes to begin. I've got a couple of weeks at this point. And I'm getting all of my. Where were we? What were we doing? Oh, we have to go up to Forsaken Fortress, right? But first we have a delivery to make, I think. One of these town flowers we have to deliver to... Yeah, let's see about bringing that to Dragon Roost, maybe. There is a treasure chest there, but we don't have a need for that. Anyway, so yeah, let's I don't need the sail. If nothing else, I know we have a good deal of feathers that we can go deliver for something or other. And then I think there's somebody to trade that that flower to on Dragon Roost, but I could be mistaken about that. We'll see. Hey, Beetle. Maybe Beetle will have something nice for us, huh? Eh. A bunch of rotating. Let's see. Nothing interesting at the moment, but let us see as well. Hey, do you want this? I can't buy that. Only the spoils bag stuff. Okay, I mean, I figured, but... I could buy one thing of bait. Hey, Imsip. Oh, you're in the Earth Temple. You got ahead of me, but, I mean, that's understandable. I've been playing this, like, 3 hours a week, so... that is not too terribly much as far as getting ahead of the game, but yeah. That is the curse of live streaming weekly, as more or less as a hobby. You don't exactly have a chance to rush through a game, even a good one. And I will also say it doesn't give. In the past, at least, it doesn't give as much of a chance to do a lot of exploration type stuff either. Side quests and exploration and that sort of thing. Unless I do some of it off stream, which I have in some cases. If looking back, some of the major ones where I did a lot of stuff off stream that wasn't particularly relevant to like actually advancing the story, actually stuff that was worth talking about, that sort of thing. What comes to mind particularly was Far Cry 5. I did a lot of just like base clearing, the usual kind of blah blah drudgery, the kind of stuff that is not particularly philosophically interesting. I did a bunch of that off stream. Then what else? There's a couple of other games where I did a lot of stuff. Not everything, but a lot of stuff off stream like that. I might Imsip. That's a good idea. Some of the heart pieces and things. A lot of the side quest material is not all that. Will this work? I missed, first of all. Why did I shoot twice? That was silly of me. Boom! A chest. Cool. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is not particularly... Oh, great. Why? I get to keep 9 of those 200 rupees. I hate it when that happens. Anyway. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is not particularly philosophically interesting, you know? So I might do some of the, like... Exploring the Great Ocean Stuff like that, I may just do off stream. We'll see. Yeah. It's rough. Honestly, this is one of the many Zelda games where there's just such an excess of rupees. Like it's one of those where if you don't have a full wallet at least most of the time, it means that you are really specifically making or just made a really big purchase. Almost all of the time, you're going to have full or nearly full, a full or a nearly full wallet, no matter how big your wallet is. Just with all of the sunken treasure, with all of the just junk sitting all over, and how much exploring you wind up having to do, even once you get the tornado song, which I can get that today. I can get that this time, can't I? Oh, he's not here anymore? Oh, right. Well, alright then. But yeah, this is one of the many Zelda games where money is not an issue. Quite frankly, it's not much of an issue in most Zelda games, but this is one of the worst offenders as far as that goes. Hey, bud. Nicely done. You must be weary. Oh, just okay. Used to have such nice breezes. Now the air is crazy. Wind God's anger. Yes. Yeah, I got that. My nice big jug of coffee. I forget, is there more to do with the mail sorting minigame, or is it just rupees? Oh, hey, Chief. Oh, Link, I hoped I would get the chance to thank you in person. Medley told me everything. I am extremely grateful for all that you have done. It seems you have helped my son, Komali, find his courage as well. You've done so much for us. I thank you. By the way, are you using our postboxes? Well, as you might know, since you left the island, all letters and packages addressed to you have been delivered to whatever postbox was nearest you. Of course, the system is not perfect. You tend to move around a lot. So be sure to check any moving postboxes you find in your travels. Do not forget. I will try not to forget. I have to wonder if it locks it. Like if you are gonna get a letter at a postbox on Dragon Roost, then you don't check it and you go say Zelda Outset nearby, or not Outset, near like Windfall nearby. Does the letter follow you, or does it not? I'm assuming it follows you, but I'm actually not sure. I've never tested it. And I'll say, when you get a letter, it's usually relatively plot important, so I don't want to screw it up. So maybe I shouldn't test it. Hey, you ready for work? Yeah, sure, let's do it. You already understand we needed to, right? Yep. So 20 or more letters, you'll get some financial gain. Oh, well, I don't need financial gain. Oh, shoot. Goofed one. I love that they fall out. Oops. There's 20. 21. 21, splendid super. Well, I got paid, so... I can't fit the rupees in my wallet. Yeah, well, work for free, I guess. Let's see. Medley. Who was it that I needed to give the feathers to? I forget. There's somebody. One of the guys out here? What is that? Oh, it's a... Okay, it's a... Oh, no. The rock. With a sign on it. Oh, it's a bird thing. Bad guy bird. A bad birdie. Wonder what that is. See if I can fly over to it. Anyway, see, like I was saying, I'm getting ready for classes, and it's been one of the few semesters where I haven't significantly changed my syllabus. I actually think I'm relatively settled with what I need to do. Huh. No, maybe this isn't right. Oops. My bad. Oh well, it's not worth it. Alright, well... I guess there's no one to trade the thing to here, so this is not the place where I need to go. Where I need to go is to... get the tornado song thingy. Oh, hey, you. What are you here for? Hey, bud. Got a bad feeling about this, man. How am I supposed to get up there? Do you want to buy this? No. Okay. Oh, keep it. What am I... Here, you want that? Alright, well, that was worth trying. I have to remember where the nearest tornado is, however. What I could just do is just sail around and start mapping islands. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'll do that. I'll go up here and then I'll just go around the outside of the map and hopefully I'll find a tornado. Why not? Meanwhile, I'll chat about some stuff. But yeah, I'm not substantially changing my syllabus this semester. However, I mentioned in Discord that that there's this interesting trend from another philosopher at I think it was Stanford. I think where she currently is. I forget her name. I think it's Canis or something like that. It's somebody I had heard of before. I've read some of her stuff on this subject, but it's been a while, a long while. It hadn't crossed my mind in a good long time. But she's written about dating, particularly in the modern world in the context of Gen Z, which I got some Gen Z friends, and I have some single millennial friends, and I got a few. Well, I have some Gen Alpha students and I have some Gen Alpha friends, but well, regardless though, yeah, there is a serious difference in how dating is now compared to when I met my wife, which at this point is, oh my gosh, what, 13 years ago? 13 plus years ago? So, it's the culture has changed dramatically. And the technology has changed even more dramatically, and those have sort of parallel to each other. So I've kind of thought about talking about, say, modern dating in the context of ethics. Like, how should we handle such things? Base says dating is rough nowadays. Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine. I can only imagine how rough it must be. Like I said, I have been off the dating market for nearly a generation at this point. I mean, I should say a generation. I have 4 kids at this point, so yeah, it's been a while. It's been some time since I've been on the dating market. And we did not, I will say, we did not get straight to having kids. We didn't get straight to getting married. We didn't get married until like 5 years after we met, give or take. 5.5. Crescent. So, you know, we dragged our feet a lot. I dragged my feet more likely, because I always do that. I'm temperamentally wildly conservative, like dangerously conservative, to the point where I'm almost afraid of change. Anyway. But yeah, it's I can only imagine how rough it is, and I think that like most things ethical consideration, that thinking purposively, thinking in terms of final causes, in terms of ends, is one of the most helpful things that you can do. Like, okay, you're dating. What are you trying to accomplish here? What are you doing? What are you looking for? What are you seeking? And why are you seeking it? And why do you think that's a good thing? Right? And for a lot of people, it's because I'm lonely. Okay, well, what does this have to do with anything? Make friends. Because that's also missing, by the way. That's profoundly missing from today's society. A lot of us, not even discounting myself. I don't have very many offline, like, real-world friends. Certainly none who are, like, all that close. So, you know, it's tough. But thinking of it in those terms, I think, can be rather helpful. And so, you know, maybe doing that as a case analysis recommendation for my students this semester, and having the time to talk about it in class a bit might be useful. Because again, this is supposed to be a rather applied ethics class, and even though I can't help but spend the first more or less half of the semester talking about meta ethics, because you need to lay the groundwork first, it's supposed to be relatively applied. MSimp, oh yeah, you can ask a philosophical question. I assume that's what that is. MSimp says, since Catholic teaching, I've heard that only mankind uniquely possesses an eternal soul. Therefore, non-humans won't go to heaven, though some animals will be made there, I've heard. In a fantasy world, do other sentient beings like elves, dwarves, etc. have eternal souls? If they're not made in the image of God, can they be saved? I'm glad you asked. This is one of my favorite pet topics. There's a long history of this question. There's a long history of this question in folklore. Am I about to get in the prisoner's dilemma? I don't think so. Am I? Am I about to talk about that? Why would I talk about that? I mean, it's fascinating, and I've talked about it in ethics class before, but I'm trying to think if it was in any of my recorded classes. I don't think so, fortunately. But yeah, I would say that, okay, so with respect to that, carefully sailing on these waters on nights when the moon is full. Ooh. Let me write this down. Ghost ship. Full moon. I gotta look up what this island is. Well, if you like pure soul-freezing horror, then maybe you can handle it. All the info I've got. Let me see where this is. This is A 1, 2, 5, 5. Crescent. Oh, Crescent Moon. Okay. Which is ironic, given that the ghost ship is here during the full moon, not the Crescent Moon, but whatever. Prisoner's dilemma in regards to dating. Pin in that. Come back. Drag me back to this topic. I do want to discuss what MSimp is asking about first. But I do think that is absolutely in my absolutely in my area of interest. I've talked a great deal about hetero sapiens, as I like to call them. What are you looking at? Is it an octopus? Oh, it's a submarine. Oh, let's go get the submarine. Let's go check out the submarine. Social media is also poison. Yeah. At least, especially with respect to dating, sure. So, heterosapiens, other rational animals. If you're talking about a fantasy world, elves, dwarves, etc., The problem arises there of what sort of fantasy world are you talking about, and does God, as such, exist? I would say that it's a logical contradiction to say otherwise. That yes, God must exist. Dink dink. Dink dink. Interesting. God, they climb! Eh! There's more! Mini blends! Is that it? Is that it? Are we running away now? Oh my god. Alright, well, apparently the goal was not to kill all of them, but I'm gonna anyway, so screw these bastards. Ah! Ah, bastard fell through the floor. Love it. What, is it just survive for X period of time or something? Or is that the point? I honestly could not tell what the purpose of that was. Oh, jeez. Oh, they keep spawning. Oh, great. Okay. I'm guessing this is more rupees, and I'm about to have wasted all this time, wasn't I? I don't know. Oh, it's treasure chart. Okay, never mind. Never mind. That's good. That's good. So on the issue of heterosapiens, I actually tend to think of it more, or at least deal with the issue more, in a sci-fi context than a fantasy context, right? Because in a fantasy context, unless you take the ontological argument quite as seriously as I do, that is to say that God simply must exist in every possible world, or else the world doesn't make sense. So unless you take the ontological argument to be that significant, which you should, but not everybody does, and I can kind of respect that not everybody does. Then you have to contend with the idea that these fantasy that souls may not exactly work in the way that they really do, like in real life. Nor does the creation of persons. There may be gods, and in a relatively coherent world, there may be, say, maybe not supreme deities, plural, because that wouldn't make sense. But maybe there's small g gods. Maybe there's intermediary deities, and they are granted dominion over life and death by the one true God, or something like that. This is kind of what I have in my homebrew setting. There are gods. There are gods of the world, but they are created beings, created by Deus, the one God, the one true, actual big G, capital G God. So, it's he's over here. That complicates matters. Which is why usually when I talk about what I call heterosapiens, other non-human, non-strictly human, non-biologically human, rational animals, usually I talk about it in a science fiction setting rather than a fantasy setting. So aliens are intelligent aliens made in the image and likeness of God. Do they have souls? Can they be saved? Are they naturally immortal in the way that we are? I tend to think that the answer to all of those questions is yes. I have a video on the subject, in addition to a lot of what I talked about in my Mass Effect live streams. when I played the Mass Effect trilogy, and a little bit to a degree when I played Andromeda, but mostly when I was playing the trilogy. 7-star house. Okay. Mostly when I was playing the trilogy, I talked about this a whole lot because there, need to be wary of the seagulls. Big octos! I tell you, those things don't mess around. Okay. Especially, like I said, in my Mass Effect series, there's a great deal. I had a great deal to say there about how I think that there could be, maybe not there are, but there could be, perfectly well could be, other rational animals bearing the image and likeness of God in just the way that we do. And that they would be, for all philosophically and theologically relevant, philosophically relevant reasons, they would be reasonably considered human. Well, now they wouldn't be literally human, like biologically. They would not be our genetic species. But they would be the same metaphysical species. Now, the analogy I like to use for this is that if that you can have the same species of different genera, of a different genus, let's say. You. Bah! Wow, that was way too easy. What the? Okay. Anyway, so my go-to example of this is you can have the same book in multiple different formats, right? You can have, say, I could not block that. Hey, that worked. I'm honestly surprised that worked. Okay. Excellent. No. So not green iguanas, Cuban iguanas. It's more like having two different kinds of iguanas, one of which is a reptile and one of which is a mammal. Now, that's not a great example. Although I think there are biological examples you can point to with things like convergent evolution. If you point to the various different kinds of, say, crabs, there can be different crabs that bear no common ancestor, or maybe not no common ancestor, but no common ancestor, like, in genetically recent past, right? Their common ancestor goes back farther than our common ancestor to trees or something, right? Or maybe not that far, but you get the point. Golden feather knights. So, but you can have different. So if iguana is the genus, in that case, green and Cuban would be the species. What I'm getting at is that you could have the same species, but different genera. Genuses, if you prefer the anglicized plural. That would be something like I said, if there were a crab, but it were of a certain biological genus, and a different crab, but it's still a crab, but they were, say, the same species, the same type of crab. They were biologically indistinct in relevant respects, but they have different genetic origins, and so they belong to different biological genuses or genera. I think genuses is technically the scientifically appropriate term, but genera is how you'd say it with respect to philosophical genus and species. So that's what I usually use. Or maybe not mammal spider, arthropod spider. That might be a little bit extreme. That might be a little implausible, let's say. But like arthropod spider and or arachnid spider and crustacean spider, like spider crab. If spider crabs evolved substantially to become more and more and more like, say, tarantulas, They started developing hairs. They started developing venomous fangs, and tarantulas were to start evolving over generations to be more and more and more like spider crabs. Change of the shape. They start becoming semi-aquatic, whatever, and they become functionally the same species to the point where maybe even they can interbreed. I don't know. Maybe that's relevant. Maybe that's not. But they would be of different genera, but they would be the same species. They'd be the same thing. Okay. Oh, ooh, perfect example here. Usually I talk about books, but let's not talk about books. Let's talk about games, because there is a game, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, in several different formats, most of which are identical in all relevant respects, but they come in significantly different formats. One is emulated. It's the PC port, so to speak. There is the original GameCube version. There is the Wii U HD version, right? Blah 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 blah. All of these. Oops. One thing. No, that's not as perfect of an example, I don't think. Because maybe you can say they are different games because it's an adaptation, or maybe it's the same thing, it's just an imitation of it in the emulation sense. Yeah. But something like in a non-biological case, I like the example of books. Imsip is not a student of mine that I'm aware of. I have no idea. You're welcome to be if you like. Actually, I would say that, but if you're not signed up for my classes, they're already full. And it might be a little bit too late to apply to the university, but if anybody wants to apply and join my classes next semester. Anyway, I said that a little bit tongue in cheek, but I will also say that St. Leo University, where I do teach, has a phenomenal online program that I occasionally teach in. So, think about it. You're looking for a master's program. Well, sadly, I can't really help you there too much, as my university does not have an MA in philosophy. There's no philosophy MA program. Sadly, I'd love there to be. I keep trying desperately to talk to the administration into doing it, but nothing yet. Oh, you're a substitute teacher. Oh, cool. You're gonna become a professor one day. Philosophy isn't your area of expertise. Want to be a historian? History is my other degree. I dual majored in undergrad, and it was philosophy and history. And then I took a great deal of graduate level history classes. Not quite enough to cross certify. I'm like this close. I think I'm like 3 or 4 credits away or something. To cross list. But yeah, no, it's phenomenal. It's a great subject, and like I think we were talking about last week, they really merge together quite well. Now, again, my period of history has shifted a little bit. From in undergrad, I focused a lot of my studies in Rome, primarily because I had a fantastic professor at my undergrad who specialized in ancient Rome. I took like 4 classes with her. It was excellent. She did such a great job on so much. Dr. Julie Langford, great professor on especially late Roman history. So I really heavily focused on there in undergrad. But as I transitioned to grad school, and as I hyper focused a little bit more in philosophy into the scholastic period, I started looking more into the history of the Middle Ages to kind of coincide with that. That has been more so my historical expertise. Since then, I've been looking more into the history of the Middle Ages, especially cultural history, because that's most relevant to the history of ideas. Should the Byzantine Empire be called the Roman Empire? Yeah, I think so. Continuity of civilization reasons, I would think so. I even lean towards the Holy Roman Empire being part of the Roman Empire, or at least it's a successor state. Let's go with that. And that's wildly controversial. Most people are like, the Holy Roman Empire was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. Shut up. Stop it. It was precisely an empire. It was a very decentralized empire, but it was very much an empire. It was holy. It was blessed by the Pope. That makes it holy. And it was Roman in insofar as it traced its lineage, roughly speaking, to late Western Roman Empire. So there you go. Literature and art, when done well, are underrated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have not read enough like proper Western canon classical literature, but I probably should for a better sort of cultural historical understanding of the world. But I digress. Otto's empire was too Germanic. Yeah. Okay. Yes. But I think that Christendom inherits the title of Rome more so than anyone else, historically speaking. Anyway, okay, wait, hold on, hold on. I was talking about species. I was talking about heterosapiens. I was talking about your question about ensoulment of non-human rational animals. Get back to this, okay? Briefly, we can keep talking about Rome. I love talking about Rome. Everyone loves talking about Rome. We're men, but but so my best example of this is a book. So you can have a book in multiple different formats. Take, for example, this one that I just picked up, Genera, which I'm going to be doing some videos about. It is probably my favorite book of the Star Wars EU, by who is definitely my favorite author of the Star Wars EU, that being Michael Stackpole. But I just got this copy. This is a very old one. I managed to get it off Thrift Books because I really just desperately wanted, for nostalgia purposes, the old cover, not the new reprint Legend cover. Um, so I managed to find it. I got one. I got a copy. It's not in the best shape, but it will do, and it smells like my childhood. Um, but in any case, this is a book. On this is my tablet, is the same book. This does not look like this, but they are the same book. That is, I should specify, on here, there is a file, which is an ebook version of this. It is a different format of the same book. Further, on here, this is my phone. On this is this book. But this is yet a different format. This is an MP3 audio file because it is an audiobook of the same thing. Now, do these look relevantly similar to you? I mean, they're rectangular and within, 30% of the same size in this dimension, into these dimensions, at least, certainly not in that dimension. But they're radically different types of things. But they're the same book. Okay. You with me? Am I making sense? Am I going crazy here? If the same book can come in 3 different formats, why can't the same human come in 3 different biological species? 3 or more. Let's go with more. I mean, we can just go with dwarves, elves, and humans if we want, to use your example. They're all relevantly the same metaphysical species. They're all persons, qua rational animals. Hence the term I use being heterosapiens, other rational animals. Like I said, I usually talk about this in a science fiction context. My video on the subject is in a science fiction context, talking about Mass Effect, talking about Star Trek, talking about Star Wars. But in either case, they're relevantly the same species, even if biologically they're not. Because they're all rational animals. They have the same, what Aristotle would call the same specific difference, the same differentiating quality that makes them the same type of thing. And so I would say that if they existed, or Vulcans, if they existed, or Rhodians, if they existed, would all be human in the metaphysically and theologically relevant senses. So let's go with Vulcans, right? Or to use the Mass Effect example, Asari. Right? If we encounter Vulcans in the late when's First Contact? It's 22nd century? Or late 21st? Whatever it is. I don't know. In Mass Effect First Contact is 22nd century. Let's go with that. So if we encounter Turians, the 22nd century. We absolutely should evangelize and baptize them. And by the way, this is Pope Francis' view that we should baptize aliens if we encounter them. And now, if we want to go a little bit trad with things, we can say that, well, that'll serve one of two purposes. Either they get baptized and then they can be, they can be saved through Christ's sacrifice, or if they're demons, the holy water will get rid of them. So that satisfies our aliens or demons friends, because we all have plenty of aliens or demons friends. Okay, so Imsim says, I'm Catholic and a staunch unionist. Want to play a part in bringing the Orthodox back into the fold. Ooh, that'd be nice. That'd be fantastic to see. I think there have been good strides towards it, though, especially with the various Eastern rites of Catholicism really flourishing. I think that we're on our way, but I don't see it happening all at once. Let's put it that way. If it happens, it's going to be piecemeal. It's going to be different Orthodox patriarchies, like everything the Orthodox does. It's going to be bit by bit. It's not going to be all at once. Ooh, specializing in the Eastern... I assume you mean Eastern Roman Empire you want to specialize in? As a Catholic historian? Yeah, I think there's merit there. I think there's a lot of interesting to say. I'm not... I don't know too much about the early medieval East. Not particularly. Like I said, most of my historical studies have been focused around Southern and Western Europe. Basis, I'm so fascinated by the Middle Ages. None of my Christian friends give it due respect when compared to ancient Near Eastern culture. I know, it's sad. It's okay. So the ancient Near East, fine, is more or less the birthplace of Christianity. I'll give you that, but the Middle Ages is where it grew up. Like, I was born in St. Petersburg, not Russia, Florida. St. Petersburg, Florida. Anyway, I was born in St. Petersburg, but we moved when I was like 3. We moved to a different part of Florida, not too far away, but not the same place. Oh, there's a chart of this island. Okay, ready for a start. Cliff there rises sharply. Okay, I need the hook shot. Okay, that's what he's telling me. Right. So it's a different. Your homeland, or your hometown, or where you grew up, is not in any way the same, or isn't necessarily the same as where you were born. And so, and to be honest, I find my childhood home to not be where I was born, or the house I lived in right when I was born. No, St. Petersburg, Florida. Tampa Bay area. But yeah, I don't find St. Pete or the even like the house that I grew up in until 3 years old. I don't think of that as my childhood home. I think of my childhood home as the house that I lived in for 15 more years, that my parents still live in. It's 40 miles north of there, give or take. It's and so I will say that, yeah, fine, Christianity was born out of Judaism, out of Second Temple Judaism in the Near East. Okay, nobody can deny that. However, it grew up in medieval, mostly Western, but generally medieval Europe. That's where Christianity grew up. That is home. That's Christendom. And there's a reason Christendom doesn't refer to Jerusalem. Even though it was conquered by Christendom, which even that just tells you that there is a distinction. Sim says, I was very into the High Medieval Roman Empire, Macedonian dynasty, late 800s to mid-1000s, era of military emperors who reconquered large swaths of land from the Arabs, Bulgars, etc. Interesting. Very interesting. Again, that's not a period or a region that I'm terribly familiar with, only very vaguely and very indirectly. Like, only really in the context of the lead up to the Crusades, which I know a fair bit about, but not particularly there. Fascinating. This is right before the schism, where things began to go down south. Connected southern Italian history. Oh, okay. Light control platform. Southern Italy switched hands to the normal. Say normal? Normans, I assume you mean. Who forced the church. Interesting. Okay. Forced, yeah, Normans. Okay. Forced the churches to adapt to the Western Rite. This caused many issues, broken the schism. Okay. Is this in any way related to the weird Orthodox belief that St. Patrick was Orthodox? Or that kind of nonsense? That sounds like relevant. The west of here, over on Dragonroot Island, you see all kinds of rocks. Big ones, little ones, you can picture. Anyway, they say that long ago there used to be a treasure hidden inside those things. Yeah, I know, I just found it. Thanks, though. It didn't actually help me about this island. Some of those very Normans who took Sicily and Southern Empire, Southern Italy from the Roman Empire, later went on to fight the Crusades. Like specifically some of the same ones, or do you mean like oh jeez, the same historically contiguous groups of people? Like that's quite different. Sorry about the squonky. That's my text alert. All right, what's this? Let's see what this is all about, huh? Birdman contest. If you think you were born to fly, then take the challenge of the sky to win fame and prizes. What you looking at? Oh, all the way out there. I see, quite so. What do you see? What do you see? I can't see. Can't climb up either. What in the world? That's ridiculous. Alright. Greetings, O person who has surely come to take the challenge of the big sky. This is where you can register for the official Rito Tribe Birdman contest. Base says the birthplace versus growing up analogy. Growing up is a good analogy. I normally use ignorance of the Middle Ages as a Christian is like walking around today blind in one eye. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And, oh my gosh, where is it? Do I have it right here? What do I do? The absolute best book on the subject. Yes! This one. And where's the second best book on the subject? Hold on. Yes, I have it. Okay, cool. Hold on. Stand by. Okay. The absolute best book on the subject and the second best book on the subject. So the first book, the best book on the subject is this. This is Thomas E. Woods, Dr. Thomas E. Woods, the Tom Woods of the Tom Woods Show, or if you're familiar with sort of libertarian circles, he is also a very traditional Catholic and an historian. Like originally, he's an historian, and this is his book, How the Catholic Church Built Western Civilization. Is there a subtitle? I don't think there is. Maybe not. Nope. No. This is my. I'm very proud of this. This is my signed copy. Absolutely one of the best history books on the Middle Ages in general, and it is absolutely critical to a proper, robust, especially a Christian historical understanding of the medieval period, because it blows up so many of the Dark Age myths that we're all taught throughout high school, throughout even a lot of college, and certainly in pop culture. So this one, must read. He also did an EWTN series, which also watch. It's great. They kind of complement one another, but they also cover a lot of the same ground. So I would recommend watching the series and reading the book, but if you can only do one, the series will do fine. It'll do fine. I'll link it in the description after we're done. I'll put it in the history channel in Discord. Hold on. Let me write that down so I don't forget. So that's one. This one, absolutely must read if you're interested in the Middle Ages, even slightly. The other one that I highly recommend, this is a deeper cut. This is maybe probably less well known because it's a very academic book. Is this by Francis and Joseph Gies? You can see that. It's called Cathedral, Forge, and Water Wheel: Technology and Invention in the Middle Ages. This also phenomenal text that does so much to explode so many of the Dark Ages myths. By pointing out that the technological advancement in so many different fields throughout the Middle Ages, even throughout the period of what we would sometimes call the Dark Ages, that we think of as sort of technologically stagnant, is absolutely nonsensical. Like this being a this is a water wheel. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is not. Yes, this is a water wheel driven clock tower. Clock tower from 1090. The technological developments in the Middle Ages are incredible to behold. And even things that we think of as having degraded over time, things like roads, we think of road systems as being like a major Roman thing. And then in the Middle Ages, the roads went to shit. And then eventually they were redeveloped. But that's not true at all. Roman roads were terrible. They were good for one thing and one thing only, and that is marching infantry. That's it, which is exactly what they were used for. They were terrible for commerce. And in the Middle Ages, so many roads had to be developed aside from Roman roads for transportation purposes, transporting both people, goods, services, pilgrims especially. That had to develop in the Middle Ages, and it did. It developed phenomenally. And of course, metallurgy, right? I always say that if a high medieval knight, like knight in like 14th century full plate with a longsword, showed up on a say a 3rd century Roman battlefield, or even like 3rd or 4th century Roman battlefield, it would basically be like an Abrams tank rolling into the Civil War. It's basically science fiction. The amazing advancements in metallurgical technologies would mean that the warrior from 500 or 1,000 years later, even 500 years, like the sort of Norman period, like chainmail clad warrior, would be practically invincible to Roman arms and armor. Unbelievably different, unbelievably distinct. And we don't like to think about that. We tend to forget that there were such incredible advancements in technology in the medieval period, that we forget that. We don't think about that because we think, oh, it was the Dark Ages, so it was after Rome fell, and Rome was always promoting technological advancement. I mean, yeah, a couple of things, but let's be realistic. It was mostly civil engineering. That was it. That was what Rome was really, really good at, was civil engineering and mass production of warfare technology. That's it. It was quantity more than quality. Imsim says a Norman Sicilian fought against Alexios Komnenos, the Roman emperor, before and during the First Crusade. He later went on to fight in the Crusades. The irony, he wasn't trusted, though, despite swearing an oath of loyalty to Alexios. Huh. See, I should know more about this. I wish I did. This is one of those topics that's one of those areas of medieval history that around the Great Schism, which is, to be fair, not something I studied too much. I study more, philosophically speaking, I study more distinctively Western thinkers, and some Bonaventure, Aquinas, Scotus, etc. More so than those who are in very close conversation with the East. Now listen, you are free to use any means, methods, or tools you have at your disposal to help you soar through the sky. The rules are simple. See how far you can fly before you crash into the rolling seas, like so much deadweight driftwood. A banner now stands at the site where the great and talented champion, who has flown the farthest to date, crashed into the frothy waves in a massive splash of glory. If you're able to pass that flag, then you'll be the new champion, and you'll be drenched in praise, much as you'll be drenched in seawater. The participation fee is a mere 10 rupees. Well, you take the challenge. I will! Okay, then up the ladder you go. My brother awaits you up top. Oh, you don't seem to have any wings or feathers or anything on your back. So, you do have something that you can use to fly, right? I sure hope so. Here's wishing the wind under your thing, whatever it is. Faye says so many novels and hymns draw from the cosmology of the Middle Ages. Can't avoid it if you read. You can if you don't know what you're looking at. Most people don't know that it is distinctly medieval. They just think, oh, well, it's old or whatever. Challenger, the contest is afoot. You will see that this is Robbie Rotten. And or Wario. Take your pick. No, not Wario. Waluigi. That's Waluigi. Right there. That's Waluigi. Alright, let's do this. Oh my god, the wind's going the wrong way! Never mind. I forgot I set the wind going the wrong way. I have failed! Let's try this again. The last Byzantine emperor temporarily reunited the churches. Constantine the 11th Council of Florence reunited the churches. However, after the Ottoman conquest, the non-unionist patriarchs won. 7 yards, not very far. Not very far. Let's try that again, shall we? Make the wind go in the right way. Hey, listen, shut up. Yes, apply. Non-unionist patriarchs in Constantinople, the schism erupted again. Greatest threat of the Islamic empire is the united Christendom. That's true. That is actually very true. A united Christendom would have allowed the Crusades to not devolve into the disasters that so many of them did. That was way too much alliteration, for which I apologize. Alright, let's do this. B. Oh, this is fun. Oh my god. I'm gonna run low on magic here. No! Shoot! Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Yes! Maybe. Oh my god. I can make this. I can make it. I can make it. I can make it. I can't make it. Oh, that close. All right, I can try it again. That was very, very close. One yard short. All right, let's try again. Let's try again. All right, let's try again, shall we? Got my root. At least I got my magic back, right? Okay. I don't have to obsessively get each tornado. That's the thing. It'll help, right? But I don't have to, like, zip way out of my way for each one. Oh, maybe I do. Oh my god, maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. There we go. There we go. Good. I could probably make it all the way like this, but I want to try and get to at least one more. Don't want to run out of magic again. That's the problem. Okay, no, I can make it. I can make it. Oh, can I? Oh, boy. What? Did I make it? Really? That's some great flying, but not quite great and tact. Oh, really? Are you kidding? Well, that's annoying. Maybe I'll do this again later. I don't have any more magic. I'm slightly peeved. I don't know if I can make it. like mathematically speaking. I'm not sure if I can make it. All right, whatever. We'll do that another time, maybe. Let's just keep heading south until we find a tornado. I forget. Do you need magic for anything other than flying in this game? Or is your magic meter purely for... Oh, no, that's right. It's for... it's also magic arrows. Magic arrows, too. I forget if it's anything else. It's magic arrows and maybe the magic armor? Maybe? It's the magic armor. I'm trying to remember. Let's check this out. Another submarine. Oh, it's dark. Oops. Ow. Locking onto them with the dink dinks is really difficult. Okay, there we go. Whew. That was more of a challenge than the last one. Not that much more of a challenge, I will say. The last one was rather challenging. All the dink dinks. I think they're called mini blends, but whatever. Imsim has a philosophy question. When you hated, if a tree fell in the woods, does it really, did it really fall if nobody heard it? Isn't it usually, did it make a sound? There's no one there to hear it? In college used to always bring this up and argue both sides. Yeah, that's rather vapid. It's basically, the question is of solipsism, right? Or at least of, ooh, platform charts. That's cool. Of the observer dependence of reality would be the sort of technical way of saying it. Heidegger, for example, would say no, it doesn't make a sound, because what a sound is a relation between the present at hand object and the way that the perceiver perceives it, or maybe not even the way the perceiver perceives it, but the receptive capacity of Dasein, the being there, that which is there. I mean, us human beings. So there are semi-respectable philosophers who basically hold that that, reality is observer dependent in some way or another. Which is nonsense, of course. So, don't get me wrong, it is nonsense, but it's nonsense with a pedigree. Platform chart. That doesn't really tell me too much. There's the fancy beetle, is way over there. Wait, sea chart. Basically, it's a solipsism question, especially if you're willing to take it a bit uncharitably. But yeah, it's not of very much real philosophical significance. It's not that serious a question, in other words. I don't feel like dealing with that. There we go. It's one of those questions that is not in itself interesting, but it brings up a serious discussion to be had. It exposes worldviews. Like, what is your position on this question? Which there is a reasonable and an unreasonable answer to that question. But, it's it at least exposes, like, what is your actual view on the question at hand. Starbelt Archipelago, interesting. Okay. Wouldn't sail through these seas on nights when the left half of the moon is missing, huh? Let's write that down. Warning you, it's not my fault if you get so scared you can't go to the bathroom at night anymore. Okay. This is ABCD G3. Starbelt. Okay. I will eventually find the ghost ship, but I'll probably wait until after I've cleared most of the map. I've figured out, where it's supposed to be. And then also when I get the warping song. I don't like pea hats. I don't like mayonnaise. It's true, though. I actually don't like mayonnaise. Oh, God! Why? How? How are you catching up to me? Don't like it. Way. Sea hats. Sorry, sea hats. Pea hats are the reasonably small little ones. Sea hats are those things. They're different, you see. There's more of the bastards. I think I'm supposed to glide over to the other one. Unless there is a... I don't see a ladder. So maybe I am supposed to glide to it. Use the boomerang. Oh, on the sea hats? Yeah, I could, but why? When I can just ignore them and hope they go away. Yeah, the boomerang is... I think that's the easiest kill for him. I mean, you can use the bow, I guess. There's no reason not to use the bow, I guess, but... I need magic if we can do this. There we go. Hello, magic. Not bombs, I need a magic. That's nice. Rupees are fine. More magic! Come on, magic. Oh, a fairy. That'll fill my magic, and I'll catch a fairy. Need you. Come here. Yay! Alright. A fairy. I got a fairy. Let's fly. It almost, though, I will say it almost reminds me of the time when I was in college, I was an undergrad, when I argued with a guy who was basically espousing moral relativism. And I hit him in the head. He was just like, he was sitting behind me, or no, he was sitting in front of me, and he was being like, well, why shouldn't I just do whatever I want to do, blah, 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 blah. You know, the usual, like, very gay moral relativist stuff. And so I just hit him in the head with my notebook. I said, hey, why shouldn't I do that? And he was very upset that I would do such a thing. You know, understandably, I suppose. But he had no right to be upset, which is the funny part. That's the point, right? He had absolutely no right to be upset at me because, you know what? What's good to me, what's good to him, or what's good to me, like hitting him in the head, might be bad to him, and that doesn't mean it's any worse for me. My teacher, my professor, who I later went on to work with a good deal when we were both grad students, because he was a grad student at the time, and I became a grad student before he finished his program. And so he rather candidly told me later on that that he was very concerned that was going to like start an actual fight or something. And that he was probably going to wind up getting in trouble for it. Because he was not exactly tenured at the time, as I said, grad student. I really hope this works. Hope I can swim this far. I hope I don't get bombed. Yes, it seems I can swim this far. Not a little close, but... Anyway. Yeah, that is, I think, how you deal with relativists. I mean, you could take my friend John's advice, which, for legal reasons, don't take my friend John's advice on most things, but especially on how to interact with relativists. As I don't know if I can save this on YouTube. Maybe I can. I'm gonna try saying it on YouTube and see what happens. But my friend John advocates that we should that the way to deal with moral relativists is to point loaded firearms at them. You know, see how they react. Oh man, I need the hammer to get past this, don't I? Oh, hello. I didn't mean to do that. Quick reflexes, man. Okay then. I swear, I will eventually find the tornado guy. Oh, small fry. Eastern Fairy Island. Need the hammer. Tell me, my friend, do you have any of them golden feathers? I hear those things are all the rage with Rito ladies on Dragon Roost these days. What Rito ladies? I didn't see any ladies. None. Not a one. Ooh, maybe I can get it a guy. Get it to a Rito guy who wants to give to his Rito girlfriend, even though I didn't see any Rito girls. But I guess I have to assume they exist. Whatever. Anyway. Ah, shoot. What was it that we were talking about briefly? But that I got distracted wanting to go back to... Oh, was it about dating? It was about dating. Maybe. I know we were talking about, at some time ago, we were talking about dating and oh, I guess, oh, can I give them medley? Oh yeah, they're all of the female, Rito, whatever. Bird girls are in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, from what I've seen, that's about right. Legend of Zelda has historically had a fair bit of furry adjacent material. I won't say furry material, since it is mostly non-sexualized, because, I mean, the Zora Princess from Ocarina of Time. But aside from that, and that's one case. That's an outlier. Surely. It's not that weird. Anyway, so, aside from that, there's some furry bait. Dating isn't the same as it was before. Yeah, I assume not, based on what I've heard of, people dating now. The fact that it's all entirely online, that there are no expectations met, or set, even. And that, from what I can tell, the expectation is a very, very fast road to intimacy. Physical more so than emotional, but even emotional intimacy really, really early is relatively problematic. Base says, I got into a religious debate with physics professor, not mine, my first semester of college. He tried the same relativistic crap on me. Did you hit him? Don't do that. Do not point lit firearms at anyone for legal reasons and for ethical reasons. Even if it would provide an excellent thought experiment, don't do that. Imsum says, is it considered cheating if your girlfriend dumps you but wants to remain friends and you do talk about getting back together, but then you date other people? No, I don't think so. You're just closing the door on getting back together, right? Something like that. And again, I think that that's the kind of thing that really should be. Look, if somebody says to you, we should see other people, and then you do, it is not your fault, even if there is something wrong with the situation. Like, no, like, that was according to her wishes. That's as best I can tell. It comes down to communication, which is the advice that the Gen Z friends I have, I will always give this advice. It all necessarily comes down to communication. Make your intentions, your desires, everything you can find, make perfectly clear. As perfectly clear as you possibly can. It will be an unbelievable breath of fresh air, and you will avoid 95% of the absurd drama that results from getting our ideas of dating and relationships from the internet. Like, just be clear and upfront about exactly what you're intending and what you're doing. That's my one piece of advice. That's it. That's my advice. Oh, and don't be a whore. That's my other piece of advice. Triumph forks. Ask a gull, huh? Oh, I know. I understand this now. I catch your drift. I catch your drift. Oh gosh, excuse me. Thorn Fairy Isle. Head north from here. Oh, it's called Thorn Fairy Isle. Okay. We go. I also think that I will also say that the perhaps obsession with cheating can or the concern, the extreme concern about cheating, I think may come from our failure to more carefully delineate between dating, simply dating, and a more serious committed relationship, something akin to betrothal, whether it's betrothal or not. Right? We have a tendency to think of any kind of relationship as well. That's the thing. We have this weird. We have this weird binary, this weird dichotomy of thinking of every relationship as both incredibly casual and a firm commitment at the same time, rather than agreeing with each other mutually what exactly the intentions might be, And if you can't figure that out, if you can't actually go and say, well, I want actually this out of this relationship is going to, or should be, this kind of a relationship, then you're gonna wind up with bitter disappointment. Dead seagull. I only get 3 tries. Oh, jeez. Should the spouses of active duty military who commit adultery be prosecuted? Prosecuted for what exactly? I mean, if you're asking if adultery should be illegal, probably. But that means we have to get rid of no-fault divorce. No-fault divorce laws. Because no-fault divorce laws are basically what legally permit adultery. So, if you don't want adultery to be legal, you have to get rid of no-fault divorce. And the laws associated therewith. Oh my god, there's so many of them! Holy crap! Yay! I did it! How long I can survive up here? My guess is not very long. Oh boy. Get back down to Link. Link can kill them for you. Oh, dead seagull. Ah! Alright, that's fine. Then again, ideally, so you ask, should the spouses of active duty military veterans be, or military personnel be prosecuted? I don't think that active duty military personnel should be married. I think that soldiery is a job for bachelors. And I know that is probably going to be wildly controversial, but it should not be that controversial. If you go to fight in a war, you are effectively abandoning your family, and there better be a really good reason for doing that. Like a really good reason for doing that. Like existential threat at the very least. Try for start, yeah? Faye says no, so the professor said, no, nothing matters. Ultimately, you can go jump off the roof of the building, and it would make no difference in the grand scheme of things. Awkward example, given that I use a wheelchair. So, did you push him off the roof of the building or not? Because, I mean, he said it'd be okay. That's basically consent. I don't know, man. I just can't take relatives the least bit seriously, just because they don't take themselves seriously. Yeah, that I will say that nothing really matters. You might as well go kill yourself. That's an incoherent position to hold, because you obviously don't hold it. Like it's not incoherent intrinsically. It's self-referentially incoherent. Like to claim that you don't care about your own life, or that you don't care about ethics or doing the right thing or anything like that, any kind of absolute nihilism like that, it is obviously false. You don't believe that. If you did, you would be behaving very differently, and you're not behaving differently. Thank God. If you were, you'd be an absolute crazy person. So good. I'm glad that you don't actually believe that, but stop pretending you believe it. Shark! Sim says, my best friend is in the same mind. He's a bachelor and doesn't want to get married until afterwards. He says many soldiers get married because they make it so affordable. Family housing, food stamps, and WIC for your children so they're fed. House is free as well. Yes, and though all of those policies are horrendous moral hazards. Horrendous moral hazards. Because they're actively promoting bad behavior of sending married men and married women, even more perversely, to go die in war. Unnecessary war, I will add, because there's not been a necessary war the U.S. has fought for 200 years plus, give or take, at least. The War of 1812 was probably the last necessary war the U.S. fought. I won't even say just war because it wasn't conducted justly, but the closest thing we probably had was 1812. So, well, yeah. Anyway, in any case, though, yeah, that's it. It incentivizes bad behavior, and then also it by encouraging marriage and then encouraging separation during marriage, what you're doing is you're also providing all kinds of near occasions to adultery on the part of both spouses, and none of that's good. Like none of that is good. Sim says, my cousin served in the army and has a girlfriend cheat on him, and he didn't date again until years after service was over. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Like it's a terrible experience that you just don't. It will affect you. You know, it's just not good, man. None of that's good. Were the world wars necessary? Neither of them were necessary for the U.S. to get involved in. Both were. The U.S. was absolutely manipulated into both of them, mostly by our own leaders, but by our own leaders' willful incompetence in both cases, and provocations. Wilson provoked the living hell out of the Germans, and then of course FDR. We presumably all know that the U.S. intelligence agencies at the time, what was it? Office of the precursor to the CIA, whatever it was called, had advance warning about an attack on a major naval base in the Pacific, and we're not sure if it was specifically an attack on Pearl Harbor, and we don't know if it was specifically that day and time, but we know that there was intelligence of an imminent attack on a major naval base in the Pacific Theater before Pearl Harbor, and what we did was reduce our defenses. So we would be attacked, So it would be a devastating attack, and so that would be a pretense to go to war. Also, Pearl Harbor was absolutely no justification to get involved in Europe. None. How that happened was eventually Germany declared war on us because we had declared war on Japan. And then we eventually jumped into the European theater. Neither of the world wars were the least bit necessary for the U.S. to be involved in. I don't think they're really... I mean, the First World War was probably not necessary for almost anyone. It was a confluence of errors. It was honestly a comedy of errors almost. The Second World War was a reasonable and just war for some of the Allied powers in Europe. Some, not all. It was perfectly reasonable for France to fight. Obviously, they were invaded. It was perfectly reasonable for Britain, probably. But even then, the pushing it. Yes, Germany was wildly expansionist, but even the UK was fighting relatively defensively and was fine. Could have perfectly well held off the Germans using the channel for pretty much indefinitely. I don't think the Germans could have even hoped to get across the English Channel at any point. The Civil War, the North attacked the South. The South did not attack the North. The South seceded, and then the North attacked them as a means of maintaining the Union. So no, that was absolutely an unnecessary war. So no, way farthest thing in U.S. history from a just war. No. Let's see what this is. Hey, small fry, do you know about the Nintendo Gallery? The only way in there is to hit a switch that's up high in the Forest Haven. Yeah, I know. Right from the seagulls. Yeah, I know. Okay. Okay, let's see what this is about. No, it's funny. I've been, in terms of my Star Wars Expanded Universe reread, I've just gotten to Legacy of the Force, which is most famously the one where Jason Solo falls to the dark side, which, again, if you don't know that, then sorry. Spoiler for a 20-year-old book, but it's kind of famous. Literally 20 years ago. A little more, actually. What the heck is this? Okay, I understand now, vaguely. I think I can probably use the Deku Leaf to turn these? Maybe? Maybe that's what I need to do? Darkitis. Yep, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Good. Yeah, Darkitis. It's that series. But it's more generally, it's the tale of the Second Galactic Civil War. Which is between, broadly speaking, the Galactic Alliance and Corellia. With some allies jumping in. Either side. And I will say, it is anxiety-inducing to read, in large part because more so than the last time I read this, because again, the last time I read this was oh gosh, probably close to 20 years ago. It was around when it came out. I can really see the degree to which it is. Oh, can't. The degree to which the Galactic Alliance is, first of all, absolutely a successor state to the Empire, more so than it is to the New Republic, which it wasn't supposed to be. Like, I mean, I say it wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be by the characters. In universe, it wasn't supposed to be. It's absolutely supposed to be in terms of how it's written. It's very much written to be, wow, everything looks very imperial, and it's supposed to look fairly obvious to the reader that, oh no, everything's going horribly wrong. And everything, and, you know, the good guys are being bad. That kind of thing. What am I supposed to do with this? Can I... No. Can I... No. Okay, good to know. Not going to work. Can I fly it? Oops! I really hope this works. Link, you crazy bastard. Oh, Fell Empire. Hope you wish they'd bring Fell Empire back to canon. I mean, I understand that because the Fell Empire was very cool. It was definitely the coolest part of the Legacy comics, which I didn't overall like very much. But the Fell Empire was very cool. The Imperial Knights were excellent. That was so cool. The drip is fantastic. Like I was talking about last week, they're the closest thing you can get to a plausible interpretation of something like a Grey Jedi, without it being unfathomably cringe. Oh, yeah. A bomb works. It was a bad idea, but it worked. Anyway, so yeah, the fact that that so much of that series is about the GA, the Galactic Alliance, gradually degenerating into the Galactic Empire, is really anxiety-inducing. But then further than that, it's also the fact that Corellia did not, well, I was about to say Corellia did nothing wrong. That's not quite true. Corellia did some things that were wrong, but it was mostly because, you know, Thrak can sell solo. But beyond that, beyond the various, you know, vaguely speaking, roughly speaking, war crimes, the fact is that Corellia was absolutely in the right in that conflict. It was because they wanted independence, which they historically had. Corellia had a unique relationship with the Old Republic, which was carried on through to the New Republic, but not carried through to the Galactic Alliance. That's important to note. But they wanted the independence that they had classically had for thousands of years, and the Galactic Alliance was saying, no, you're going to be forced to be just like any other planetary system. It doesn't matter that you were a core founder for 20,000 years. Who cares? Doesn't matter. No. And so it's like the GA, the Galactic Alliance, is basically playing the tyrant card. They're being petty tyrants. They're being Yankees, right? If we want to go with the Civil War analogy, and I say Civil War, it's actually kind of fascinating. The naming conventions for the wars in Star Wars fascinate me like to no end, because the Galactic Civil War is much more revolutionary in nature than it is like most civil wars. Certainly, like the American Civil War, it's much more similar to the American Revolution, say, than the American Civil War. Whereas the Clone Wars where it was a secession crisis. So it was very similar to our Civil War, but it wasn't a Civil War. It wasn't a Civil War. It was a war. It was seen as a war. The Confederacy of Independent Systems was seen as a separate government. Like, yeah, I don't know. Something about the those comparisons just fascinates me. 5-star owls, huh? Okay. Imsim says, is the Galactic Empire revived Sith Empire from the Old Republic, or simply a reorganized Republic? I'm thinking of when Palpatine says, once more the Sith shall rule the galaxy, and we shall have peace. I always assumed he was referring to the old Sith Empire. Yes and no. It's... Okay, hey, the ghost ship, okay. In these very waters, Crescent Moon faces down? When the hell is the Crescent Moon face down? Okay. Whatever. No! Don't jump in the water. Yay! No, wait! Oh, Jesus, not again. Oh, keep me... no, that's the whole point. I generally prefer... I like chatting stuff. I think there's a tornado in Forest Haven, right? Is there? I'm gonna hope so. So the question of whether the Galactic Empire is a Sith Empire or not has always been an interesting one and a contentious one. I tend to think that officially no, but that is how Palpatine envisioned it. Right? So, first of all, you'll note in his speech to the Senate, he says the First Galactic Empire. Galactic Empire is almost certainly meant to contrast with ancient Sith Empire. Now, in universe, I understand that, like, as it was written, that can't have been the intention because all of the old EU stuff was, one, not written yet, two, contrary to George Lucas's vision. So, yeah. Let me write this down. Star. Okay. A lot of that was, in fact, contrary to George Lucas's vision because he didn't think that there were ancient Sith empires. He thought that the Sith were always necessarily self-destructive, which I actually kind of like as an idea, but whatever. Then you can't get cool, massive pitched battles between Jedi and Sith, and that's disappointing. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Palpatine very clearly was meaning to distinguish his empire, the Galactic Empire, from the Sith empires, the ancient Sith empires, which were always necessarily sectarian and regional. Right? The ancient Sith empires were always over specific regions, and they were always in contention with the Republic. They were not galactic. They were not the sole hegemon of the galaxy, or at least of the non-unknown galaxy, the known regions. And so presumably he intended to contrast it with the ancient Sith Empire. That said, your quote about once more the Sith shall rule the galaxy, that very clearly, yeah, that he's saying that this is a continuation of the old Sith empires. Sure, surely. Like, there's no other way of reading that. There's no tornado here? I just sworn there was a tornado here. Imsim, help me. Tell me which quadrant to go to, which island to go to, that will have a tornado. Please, help me out here. All right, so I need 3 more baits and 2 more hoy powers. I'm vaguely familiar with the Dune universe, not closely. I saw the old movie, the like 1980 whatever it was, the one with um Kyle McClanahan or whatever his name is, that guy. Um, that one I saw. And I've read about the books. I haven't actually read them though. Three-Eyed Bay, huh? Okay, let me find that. There's King. Good old King O. Here's King Boy. Three-eyed something, western part of the map. Right, Reef. Where? If it's all the way on the west, I don't have it mapped yet. Sim says to me it's an antithesis of Tolkien's work. I have heard that sort of thing, and that seems legit from what I know. Okay, where's one that's near Forest Haven? How about that? I know we got schlooped up from it. Where? Cyclops Reef, maybe? Man becomes God as opposed to how the biblical God becomes the man story. Oh, yeah, okay. I buy it. I get that. Jesus, where is the damn thing? There is a tornado. I'm like this close to looking by myself. Help me, please. You're my only hope. In the meantime, I'm going to chat a little more about this too. The Sith Empire is also, yes, the once more the Sith will rule the galaxy. That whole thing, but then also, taking clear inspiration, especially in ship design. Right, Imperial Star Destroyers are very clearly based on ancient Sith designs, like the Harrower class Star Dreadnought. Right, the from the Great Galactic War. Go towards Dragon Roost. All right. Let's try going towards Dragon Roost. Onto the Fairy Island up there. Okay, let's give that a shot, shall we? I've uncovered all but the western edge of the map. Oh, you did this last week? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but the big honkin' triangle ship retcon was one of my favorite little lore bits from the EU. That it turns out that the second ship you see on screen, actually, sorry, no, correction, that the first two ships you see on screen in Star Wars ever were inspired by what, 6,000-year-old designs? I'm not going to stop here. I'm not stopping. I'm going to find the tornado tonight. That's it. It is like 10:48. This is ridiculous. Was the Sith Empire a theocracy or a theocratic monarchy? I would lean more towards something like theocratic monarchy than theocracy per se. If only because of the theology, so to speak, of the Sith. Right? The Sith do not take the Force to be a power over them, but rather a power that they use. Right? So they see themselves as the rulers of the Force, rather than the Force being maybe it's this one, Eastern Fairy Island, maybe. Rather than the Force being something that actually, controls or even guides them, like the Jedi do. You might be able to have a Jedi-dominated government, if there ever were such a thing. They were close near the end of the Great Sith Wars. New Sith Wars, before lead up to Rusan, right? But if you had something like a Jedi-dominated government, then in that case, I would say, yeah, you could do something like, you would be able to probably say that is a theocracy, based on how the Jedi understand the Force. Let's see. You're opening up a can of worms there. Would you rather be Sith or Jedi or a Gray Jedi? So first of all, I'm not evil, so Jedi, very obviously. I'm not an evil psychopath. Unlike, all of the writers of the Acolyte and most of the actors in the Acolyte who are evil. I mean, look, former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, which is the lead writer is not exactly a good person. But yeah, Jedi, obviously, absolutely, without a doubt, no hesitation. Northern Triangle Island, Fire Mountain, Quadrant. Where's Northern Triangle Island? Over there. Okay. All right, I can do that. Thank you. Do this. Here I go sailing across, like, the whole Great Sea, just to find a way of not sailing across the whole Great Sea. Oh my gosh. Alright. Anyway, though, yeah, it's, yeah, so obviously not Sith, because the Sith are horrifically evil and ultimately miserable in basically every way. Have I gotten the thing from Fairy Island up here? I think I have, but let me make sure. Whatever it is, I want to get it. I want to make sure I got it. Yeah. Then, yeah, looks like I have. Yeah, it's just fairies. Okay, I mean, fairies are nice, though. Anyway, so yeah, it's, Sith, right out. Will I be playing Star Wars Outlaws? Probably not on stream. I might eventually. I might pick it up eventually. I still haven't gotten to, Jedi Survivor on stream. And I might. It'd be a good one to play. Although, I will say, better ones to play on stream would probably be, Jedi Knight 2 and 3. Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. Those are ones that I'd absolutely love to stream. The old classics. The Kyle Katarn and his apprentice ones. They're very old, but man, they hold up. They hold up. But yeah, it's there's one on what is it? I have a video on St. Anselm, ostensibly, but it's also on the Jedi versus the Sith philosophies of immortality in particular, and how the Sith are self-obsessed, and so they always wind up, practically speaking, in hell. They wind up destroying themselves. Whereas the Jedi, by giving up their attachment to self, here it is. They give it up in order to save it, or in order to receive it, which ties in very closely with Anselm's idea of, here he is, with Anselm's idea of the decision between the good and the fallen angels. Shoot! Gotcha! Hey, get... Yeah, there we go. Hit. Nope. Hey, there we go. Gotcha. That's a heck of an arm you've got there. Whoop. He's smaller now. And what an eye! No one's ever been able to spot me in there before now. Is Star Wars my favorite fandom? Probably close with Lord of the Rings. Very close with Lord of the Rings. Take a picture of him before you get... Oh, darn it. Well, I don't have the color Pictobox yet. I don't know where to get the color Pictobox. Obviously, you have mastery of the air. And now we've established that you're quite the Wind Waker. Let's see if you can handle this. Yay! Ballad of Gales. Wahoo! In the hands of a Wind Waker like you, my adorable little cyclones will be as happy as they can be. If you need to move like the wind over the ocean depths, just call in my cyclones. I guess I'll head for home now. See you down the road. Cool. All right, now what? Let's. Should we continue explore? No, let's explore later. Let's just do the thing we're supposed to be doing, and teleport to Mother and Child. Oh, along Jurassic Park and Zelda. Yeah, both are great. Both are great. Ah, look at all this. Oh, look, they're all places where I have been. See, there is supposed to be a cyclone at Forest Haven. I knew it. Oh, and that was the one. That was the fairy island you were thinking of, I bet. It's southern. Tingle Island. There's a lot clustered right around here. Right around the northwest. Anyway. Whoosh. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, no, it's I'm also if I actually get to the point where I can stream 2 nights a week again, I'm probably going to continue through Zelda. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the Maker of the Winds. Just wait. With Twilight Princess. I'd like to, but the emulated version I have is the GameCube version, and I don't actually know if it holds up that well. If the GameCube version holds up well. If I could find an emulated version of the Wii U HD re-release, that'd be tempting. Because that was great. That was, I think, the definitive version of the game. The Wii U re-release of Twilight Princess was just top-notch. Excellent. But I don't know of any good Wii U emulators. I have to look into it. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, if I were to do that, then I might continue with Twilight Princess next. I'll stop there, though, I think, as far as Zelda games go. And I think my next big fantasy titles are probably going to be either the Fable trilogy, which I've never played before, so that'll be a fun go through with everybody, or in a radically different direction, The Witcher 3, which is a really good game, and it has some really interesting philosophical bits involved in there. So interesting things to talk about. So those are some options on the table. I have other options too. You could probably search through Discord somewhere where I've talked about here's some games that I've got in my back catalog that I'd like to stream. But then now that I think about it, I might want to stream a couple of older EU games, like Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. Those were great, really good, especially Kyle Katarn. Katarn's a good character. He's a really good character. He very much takes the wrong side in the Second Galactic Civil War, but who the hell didn't? Oh, hold on. I have a meme for this. On, we the baddies. Anyway, yes, yeah, Luke, you did a bad one there. Anyway, we're back. Oh, what was the D&D campaign you accidentally stumbled into the other day? Oh no, no, we so discussing games would probably, oddly enough, go into the general chat, Discord chat. We've got two for gaming. I guess I should call it. Is it called gaming or is it? Yeah, gaming text. Yeah. Gaming. So the gaming chats, the voice chats, are for if you're playing games with somebody. So whether that's playing D&D together, or we're all getting together playing. A lot of people in the server play Deep Rock Galactic or Sea of Thieves, or a few people play Helldivers, or what's a few other ones? Lethal Company. Lethal Company was a big deal a while ago. There's a few games. Oh, I should. You're right. I should finish up. Also, Monster Girl Academia. You're right. I absolutely should finish that one up too. And the Stanley Parable, which is I have the Ultra Deluxe version, which even still would probably be only like 2 streams long, give or take, unless I do a lot of pausing to talk, which I might. It's me. Um, yeah, but those are in there. But or probably more commonly for our gaming channels, playing D&D. We've got a few active games in there in our server. I'm currently running one. I'm also currently running a Star Wars tabletop. Um, and that one, the one from Sunday, is my own homebrew world, which I've been working on quite a bit lately. It's relatively well fleshed out, and I'm hoping to publish a source book for the world, which is my idea for it is a a high fantasy setting, broadly speaking, but one which is more medieval in its um, sensibilities, in its culture, in its type of fantasy, in the way that it works. Far more so than most modern D&D settings. Um, Kind of going back to the roots of high fantasy, of modern high fantasy. The idea being that the humans of the setting are normal. There are human nations. Uh, One of the major nations is polytheistic. One of the major nations is monotheistic. There's the monotheists are a splinter group from the polytheists, and they're a big old thing. Um, but then beyond that, at the sort of periphery of the world, there are odd beast races. They're strange. They're abnormal. They typify the platonic, the varying degrees of corruption in the platonic soul. So there's bird folk, there's cat folk, there's dragon and lizard folk, um, all of which sort of embody different archetypes. But they're odd, they're foreign, they're alien, they're distinctly non-human, and so they are the kind of here be dragons at the edge of the map. And so rather than the various fantasy races just being, you know, them having superficially different physical characteristics. Like elves are just humans who live a long time and have pointy ears. No, elves in this setting are uniquely created directly by God and are truly immortal and are aloof to the point where most people don't actually think they exist. You can't play one. Elves are not a playable race. Dwarves, similarly, live deep underground. They do not. They Most people don't think they exist. They're basically mythological. Gnomes, which is if you saw a lot of the memes, gnomes are tricksy little forest creatures that also come into town sometimes and make stuff and sell stuff for people and help people out and people pay them for services. They're little guys, but also they're affected by the odd magical fluctuations of the area and the emotional impact of people around them. So sometimes, if they're having a particularly bad and a particularly nasty kind of chaotic day, they become goblins. And so gnomes and goblins are the same kinds of creatures. They're both these tiny little fey creatures of chaos. It's just the good kind of chaos or the destructive kind of chaos, which is again closer to more classical European folklore. So all of this is I'm trying to. Oh, and of course, things like, a really more feudal, like a layered feudal social structure with it's very stratified. Something that is more medieval in its sensibilities. So while it's still, a big, magical high fantasy swords and like heroic fantasy setting. That's the idea. I like it. I like it. It's fun so far. We've only gotten like 3 sessions into the prologue, so there hasn't been a ton of diving into the world. But the party is basically all humans except for one bird person, one owl person that can walk. Um, in Simpass, do you have any tips on world building? Currently working on two worlds, one kind of sci-fi, the other high fantasy with a lot of ancient stuff thrown in. Have a concept first, then work through history, work through the history of it. Um, you want you want a world where while you're building it, that you don't have to be that creative. It's a weird thing to say, but and this is my advice, so feel free to take this or leave this. This is how I do it. Have a world where you answer questions like what is on the other side of that hill by asking what would reasonably be on the other side of that hill based on what other things are going on here, right? If the other side of that hill is a valley which goes north and south, and at the north end of that valley is a delta to the sea, there's probably a port city up there. On the other side of that hill is probably a major highway that heads from that port city to other cities further inland. There you go. On the other side of that hill is a road. That's how you world build. You kind of patch things together based on, well, how does your geography work? How does your history work? What historical events, what people groups, and whatever would lead to the world looking this way? That'll just give you the answers to what else you will expect to find here and there, right? So if you have a sort of big picture, that can very much help you fill in the details, and then you can just add little weird quirks here and there, and that's the nuance of your world, is adding whatever random little quirks you feel like adding. Bay says, speaking of gaming, DPR, what's DPR? It'll come to me in a second. Officially has where fans can get together to play games with their deck. It'd be interesting to see how that develops. Oh. Oh, elaborate what you mean by a concept. The kind of thing I was talking about, right? I want to make a world that is medieval authentic, but still being relatively high magic, relatively high fantasy. So one of the major things in my world, what first gave me this thought was, what if magic is really common, but war magic is not? Like player characters who are wizards or sorcerers or bards or warlocks, especially warlocks, whatever. People who wield magic in combat is wildly uncommon because magic is really hard to figure out. It's hard to master. It takes a lifetime of study and training. And so if you're going to do that, what are you going to do? Are you going to go become a warrior and blow people up with fireballs? Or are you going to become wildly wealthy and influential by creating magical wonders for, say, the nobility, or for tradesmen, merchants, or for broad bases of people? You're probably going to do the latter unless you're some kind of wild psychopath. And so, battle mages in this world are seen as bizarre psychopaths. So it's a high magic setting in that there's magic available a lot. There are people who can use magic, but they're mostly non combatant types. And so the combat mages are seen as bizarre psychopaths. Right? And so that, combined with this being a relatively medieval setting, means that it's relatively high magic, but the actual day-to-day interactions, the actual combat stuff, it's more like swords and sandals in a slightly wild world. Dirtport Robbins. Oh, okay. Tap in the Discord. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Oh, Bays, very cool. That is very cool. Okay, so the decks, the card decks you can get together to play with them. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. ImSim says, I've drawn up maps, have the history somewhat planned out. Still wondering about creating other fantasy races. Will they be saved? There's a monotheistic god, the divine triumvirate. I would lean towards yes on that, or savable, right? Whatever model of salvation would probably be either fully open to them, or they would each have unique paths towards salvation, because those are the big models, right? Those are the big models. There's three big models with respect to non-human rational animals. One is they are not human. They're distinctively not human. They're not they cannot be saved by any means. I think that's nonsense. So rule that out. Two, that all creatures can be and will be saved. I mean, not necessarily will be, can be saved through the same means, through Christ's one sacrifice for all. That's the view I take. The third is something more like C.S. Lewis's view, which is that probably God went directly to all of the different creatures that he made and said, "Here's the way back to me. Here's the way to salvation. Some of you have fallen, some of you have not. Those of you who have fallen, here's a path to salvation. Here's one for you. Here's one for you. Here's one for you. Here's one that makes sense given who and what you are." That's C.S. Lewis's view, and it's certainly appealing. I don't think it's correct, but it's appealing. So, and either one can work in a fantasy setting, I think. You have a dual magic system similar to Dark Side and Light Side in Star Wars. Good mages draw their power from mana, which is pre-incarnation times required human sacrifice. Now it's tapped through prayer and fasting. Okay, okay. Dark Side, based on offering human sacrifice to false gods. Demons. The archdemon is known as the primordial serpent, whose cult has existed in one form or another throughout history. Okay, okay, I dig it. This is pretty cool. Okay. I might go... No, feel free to take this or leave this. Feel free to completely ignore this. Very typically what you'll find in a lot of fantasy settings in terms of magic systems that have sort of light side, dark side, is that you'll also either also have as like a parallel distinction, or I guess perpendicular distinction, um, or or as this distinction itself, the distinction between divine and arcane magic. Right. This is what D&D used to do, and this is what most D&D inspired fantasy settings will do. We'll have divine magic and arcane magic. Divine magic being a blessing or a gift from the divine, from God, or from gods, or in some cases from demons. If you want to play it the perpendicular way, the alternative is arcane magic, which is mystical control over natural forces, essentially. And so, if it's mana, if it's control over mana, some kind of additional force that's within the world that you can tap into and control, then essentially what you're doing is you're drawing on the existence of the cosmos. If you want to put it in Aristotelian terms, you're manipulating prime matter, that which is not shaped or formed in any particular way, but that you can shape and form according to your will as a kind of demiurge, if you want to think of it that way. And so I generally like this dichotomy between divine and arcane magic. Um, a good application of this is how it's done in Frieren, the anime, which is very very D&D inspired, very European D&D inspired anime, where there's arcane magic, which is about discovering the secrets of the world. A lot of the knowledge of which comes from demons, or comes not from demons, but from studying demons and trying to replicate what they do, the kind of magic that they perform. And then there's divine magic, which is revealed directly by the goddess of the world. And so it's very difficult, if not impossible, to understand from a, let's say, scientific or arcane way. So that again, there's ways of making that distinction. I think it's a really classic distinction that you'll find in a lot of magic settings. So it's something to look at. Um, Meant to say, good mages offered human sacrifices, and the burnt offering is how mana was made. People are born with abilities. That means they've been called by the divine. Okay. Again, okay. Let's see. Anyway, let's continue, but feel free to keep talking. I'll keep an eye on it. You somehow managed to find... How did you manage to find this place? Magic! I'm the queen of the fairy world. I've been awaiting your arrival. But now is not yet the time for us to meet. You still have many challenges to overcome. You seek to protect an individual very dear to you. Yes, I know of her. There is yet another in this world who you must protect. Come visit my fountain again when you have met that individual, when the time has come for you to face new challenges. At that time, I shall show you my true self. Okay. All right. Well, let's go to the Forsaken Fortress then, shall we? Single Island is probably slightly closer. So some follow this, some evil refuse and turn to evil beings. And figured out all the abilities. There can be specializations. Some abilities to adapt to sensing spirits, pick up an object to get a sense. Go on, but I think I'll save it. I don't know if there's a good place in Discord to drop lore. I would say maybe in gaming, or even just make a thread. You might just make a thread for it. I might do. There's a few people who have made threads on lore for their own world building. So. Alright. Anyway, let's go. To the Forsaken Fortress. Stupid shark. Is it really still chasing me? What is going on here? Also kind of have to love that if I just keep going in a straight line, it will inevitably miss me every time. I'll leave that. Right. By the look of it, we're probably going to have time to do the Forsaken Fortress, and that's about it tonight. We have 40 minutes. So I think that should be good. Should be good. Oh. We're getting some more serious pursuit now. Oh my gosh. It was worth a try. And nations. We got various nations inspired by the Byzantines, Romans, Seleucids, and another nation based on medieval Ethiopia and Christian Sudan. Oh, cool. Very cool. I mean, my two major human nations are basically Greek. They're both medieval, but they are Greek and Roman, to the degree that they're at least linguistically Greek and Roman. Let's put it that way. They're more like they're Greek and Latin, say. Oh, how should you organize your world building? That's a great question. I have all of mine in a OneNote document. You can try something like World Anvil. I know some people have used World Anvil to great success. Part of the big problem with World Anvil, and from what I've seen, because I tried it, is that a lot of the really nice features, the handy features, are paywalled. And also, it seems to me like there isn't much of a benefit to using World Anvil over, I don't know, something like OneNote. You know, I really dig OneNote as far as for that kind of thing, for world building. OneNote would perfectly fine for me. What the heck? Do I need to blast my way in? I do, don't I? Yeah, paid apps. Like I said, I use primarily I use OneNote. You can put images in, you can put text in, you can do whatever, that sort of thing. So you don't have to do just a gigantic Word document that's innavigable. There. Nice. Aha! Here we go. Ganon has likely been made aware of our little incursion already. But you have the Master Sword. That sword shall shine in the darkness, casting back evil. With it in your hands, none can keep you from rescuing your sister. Do not be afraid. Okay. Instead of being afraid, I will be the hero. Ow, really? Oh, hey, it's Phantom Ganon. It's a defense mechanism. Ah, he got me. What am I gonna do? How did that work? That was way easier than it should have been. Especially after having failed the tennis match. Cool war, oh, okay. Cool war I wrote named The Unholy Crusade of Calamon. Meant to be a backstory war similar to Obi-Wan name drop in the Clone Wars, but actually planned out The Unholy Crusade of Calamon. Okay, very cool. Yeah, no, like, I love that sort of thing. Like, mine has, I've made also, my setting is a young world, meaning that it is, like, the history of the world, like, from the creation, from the moment of creation, or at least from the moment that there is historical record of, is only, what, like, a few thousand years? Stupid ding-dings. Hammer! Bap. These stupid ding-dings. I think I'm supposed to go down there, aren't I? I am. I'm supposed to go through the big door that opened. Oh. Let's try going through the big door that opened, shall we? But yeah, in that several thousand year history, I have several major like war events. Actually, there's a game that I actually recommend. It's a tabletop game. I'll put it in the Discord. It's called Mappa Infinium. It's Mappa something. It's Latin. Oh god. But yeah, it's I use it for world building more than anything else. It's meant to be multiplayer, but you can do it single player if you're just playing as both sides. How it basically works is it gives you a series of roles and things, both roles and option tables. Not all roles, but roles and like option tables. Like I said, for how to build a world, including a map, right? So it gives you things like how do you build a map? What kind of features should you have on your continents, or how many continents should you have, and all kinds of cool stuff. Right? It's very cool. It's very well done. Actually, no. Let's put that there, and let's put the hammer here. Oh. I can do that. Okay, cool. Ah! Loser. Ah! Why isn't it? I don't know why it wasn't letting me parry the stabs. That's weird. Yeah, it's one of those things where set up how the world is, set up how you expect the history of the world to flow, and honestly, it does a lot of the writing for you. Oh, that sucks. Oh, you have a Numenorean flood story in your world, or you know, a Noah's flood story or Tower of Babel story, whichever. There's an island of humanity lived on. Primordial serpent corrupted 2/3 of humanity and began offering human sacrifices. A divine triumvirate flooded the land, but told the faithful to head to the main continent. Fallen humans escaped as well. Might be contradictory that they escaped. Maybe. I might be tempted to go with no, they didn't, but they could. Or maybe some of them did. Or honestly, you could just say that no, they didn't, but their ways remained. Just because the particular individuals who had fallen were wiped out does not mean no one else will fall afterwards. I mean, look at the flood of Noah, right? Just because it was all righteous men at the time, doesn't mean that they will remain forever righteous men. Can I not? What in the world? Fallen humans built a civilization based on Egypt and Carthage, became a different race resembling dark elves, blue-gray and charcoal skin, also glowing red eyes. Be careful to avoid the Mormon trope where, you know, black people are evil. The glowing red eyes thing, totally legit. I think that actually works as far as the, as, you know, not having them be, you know, racially coded or whatever. You serious? They escape and become a race of shadow people. Okay, yeah. Nearly extinct by the time of the main story. No longer human. Yeah, okay, that can work. I think it can work. You have black people. They're the Samoan Empire. Oh yeah, that's the Ethiopian type. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. The worship of the divine triumvirate allies with the Venetian. So, you can understand thinking Venetian. Oh, hello. Oh, fascinating. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, yeah, ebony versus Oracle. Okay, no, that makes sense. I get that. I think it's a good distinction to make. Yeah. That about works. Really? Give me some of them hearts. Is up the way I need to go, I think? Right? Yeah. I think this is the main, like, central tower, so I think this is where I need to go. Ah, fucking dink dinks. Dink, dink, dink. I really hope dink dinks don't show up while I'm doing this. Magic's good to have. Uh-oh. Oh, Jesus. The whole shooting bombs at me while I'm sidling across a wall thing really is throwing me. Oh, balls. Okay. Can I do something about that? I doubt it. Yeah, that's definitely worse than the whole dink dinks thing. Maybe I'll just use the leaf. Change the wind, use the leaf. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Wait. It's having me look up. Ugh. There we go. There we go. I stunned him. Hey, Meta Ridley. How you doing? Let's go! Alright, bird boss time. I don't quite fully remember how to do this boss fight. But here we go. Big brother? You're okay. Oh, dinosaur in another time. Wait. What? This isn't, like, supposed to be Dodungo or something, is it? I was worried. Hi. Someone open that easily. Beef jerky. Not chocolate. I'm a more savory snacks kind of guy than sweets. But Helmasaur King. From which game is that? That sounds familiar. I haven't played either of the two recent ones, so it may have been. If it's from those, then I've probably only heard of it. No, this is beef jerky, not chocolate. Homemade. I make my own jerky typically. Beef and bacon both make excellent jerkies. As far as Link to the Past. Oh, okay. God, it's been a while. That one's been a very good long time since. There you go. Acting before you think, as usual. I do like deer jerky. It's been a while since I've had it. I don't hunt. I don't really hunt. So I should get into it, but yeah. But deer jerky is good when I get around when I get it. I've even done wild boar jerky because I don't hunt, but I live around. I live in a place where hunting is quite common, and I've got buddies who do. So, um, I get the remains. I get the food rather often. So, yeah, I've done wild boar jerky. That actually winds up being pretty interesting. Because I'm always hesitant about pork in general as far as jerky, just because of cook temperature. Because jerky doesn't get that hot. But so long as it gets over the safe eating temperature for it, which it does, typically it does. So, um, for beef, I usually dehydrate at 150. For bacon, I crank it up to 175. Again, safe cook temperatures, and so it renders off enough of the fat. Because man, there's a lot of fat on bacon, obviously, but it turns out really good. So, Imsim says I'm personally really big into firearms. I never got into hunting despite living in Pennsylvania for a couple of years and my family being into it. Yeah, no, I have no problem with it, obviously, but I just never got into it. It's one of those things. One of those things I never got into. I would probably like to. Yeah, I'd probably like to get around to it one of these days eventually. Maybe when the kids are old enough. It'll be one of those things I get into with the kids. Then again, they're 0, 2, 4, and 6 right now. So the very idea of hunting and killing an animal is horrific to them. But they'll get there. They'll get there. Imsim says I think because I love historical military arms. Can't hurt with those. Mainly, I love Cold War era firearms. Okay. As far as firearms go, my dream armament is all Old West. I'm way more anachronistic. I love swords more so, even more so. They're far more artistic to me. Obviously not practical, but whatever. Who cares? Very cool. If I and because I don't care so much about practicality, I always say I'm looking at I'd be wanting to get a matched set of a revolver and a lever gun, ideally with firing the same cartridges. So like, um, like a 38 and a 308 kind of thing, something like that. Anyway, I swear, do you even realize what we had to draw that monster bird off for you? It was about to come flying in here after you again. Speaking of which, what that? That sword. Where did you get that? Sim says, I want to get into swords, but I can't afford it. You can't afford it. Well, that's why I can't afford to get into firearms. Because firearms have that big initial cost, right? Which is at least as much, if not more, than swords, like good quality swords. But then also, you got ammo, man. Because unless you're just collecting, collecting to collect, you're probably going to be practicing with your guns, right? And especially these days, good lord, ammo costs are nuts. Yeah, I always told myself when I got my master's, I'd buy myself a nice Roman Gladius. Respectable. Yeah, I've looked into a lot of them. I've got a few, mostly only a couple of them are like combat grade kind of things. My small sword I have over there is absolutely combat grade, sharpened combat type thing. I have some stage combat swords from back when I did a little bit of that for like Renaissance festivals and LARPs and things back in college. So I got a few of those. And then I've got some martial arts grade, still, good quality steel and all that, sharpened. A couple of them have been sharpened, but martial arts kind of stuff. So back when I did kung fu, Chinese martial arts, mostly northern Chinese, like Mitsung Lohan, things like that. Oh, you have firearms currently. That's why. Okay, yeah, okay. It's expensive to collect more, presumably. There's no if I'm getting into swords, it'll be another pricey hobby besides gaming, Star Wars, collecting firearms. Yeah, true. You can only afford so many pricey hobbies, collecting hobbies, I get that. For sure. Are you... Is it even possible? How could it be? Well, never mind about that. For now, we'll just take these girls. I'm sure their fathers back in town will pay a handsome reward for their return. Yeah, probably. I'm so sorry to interrupt such a heartwarming reunion. But isn't there still something that you need to take care of? If you're worried about your sister, don't be. I promise I'll deliver her safely back to your little island. Normally, I'd expect a huge reward for something like this, but this time it's my treat. Listen, Errol, your brother still has some things to take care of. Big, important, grown-up things. He'll be back soon, so just wait nice and quiet until he returns, okay? But big brother... Miss Tetra, we have to hurry. The bird will be here any second. Gonzo, excellent. You're just in time. Take this one for me. Yeah, I like the little cutlass dagger. It's very Sikh. Don't you think? Huh? But she's fine. Just do as you're told. Yeah, big missed opportunity to have her fight with her cutesy little cutlass dagger thing. Link, we'll be back. I swear it. Okay, if you say so. Uh-oh, birdie. Well, that's some bullshit. That's even more bullshit. Oh my gosh. All right. No. Oh, right. No! Well, this is unfortunate. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, it does take out my floating meter, doesn't it? My swim meter. Oh, I can use the claw, can I? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I should do that, shouldn't I? Instead of doing this is stupid. Unbelievably stupid. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at them. They're right there. The things, they're right there. Excuse me, Barkablin. Ah. Wang! Effed him up pretty good. I don't think I killed him, though. Something tells me he ain't dead. Especially because this really looks like a boss arena. Alright. Seems I have hurt your face. Let's hurt it more. Where's the bastard? Come on. Come on. How am I supposed to do this? Do I need to use my sword on its feet? Oh, right. That's how. There's no reasons the spike should be there. Because it's cool, man! I would consider the Forsaken Fortress a mini-dungeon. Just because it occurs more than once in different forms, you know? Most typical dungeons don't work like that. Ah, that's what I remember. I remember this now. I'm doing the scrapey thing. The fat bird, you know? Oh, angry chicken. Come on. Yes, you can hit the Helmarok King with the boomerang. You absolutely can. I don't actually know if it damages it, but you can. It at least stuns it, like slightly stuns it a bit. Oh my god, it damages it! Oh my god. What? I'm assuming... Okay, first of all, I'm assuming that they did fit that onto it, that was something Ganondorf made. But also... What? Why am I allowed to beat this boss with a boomerang? Oh my god. The boomerang is not supposed to deal damage. Dude. Oh, wow, that was spectacular. I had no idea. I mean, yeah, how sensitive was the head crest after it only kills keys and little mobs? Yeah, right? Like, it takes 2 hits to kill a little mini blin. God, I don't know. That is absurd. I love the boomerang in this game. Have I said how much I absolutely love the boomerang in this game? Best version of Ganondorf? Really? I don't know. Twilight Princess. The horse combat one? I mean, to be fair, don't get me wrong. I love the, like, dual swords thing he's got going on here. He's very classy. But man, the Twilight Princess one. As a kid, I just thought he used to just hang out here brooding in his lair for days. I mean, yeah, that's what you do, right? It's been a while, boy. You have done well to sneak into my fortress and wriggle, not wiggle, wriggle your way all the way up here. I suppose the least I can do is commend you for your reckless courage. Meta Ridley says, Twilight Princess Ganondorf is like the first or second game that enforced the hijacked by Ganon trope. Was it the first? I'm trying to think if it was the first. It might have been. I mean, it became a big deal. It became a really, really long-running trope. I'm trying to think if it was the first. Was it? Yeah, I assume he just hung out here, like, presumably playing the organ. Like in the good old days. My name is Ganondorf. I am the master of Forsaken Fortress. Not gonna look tough after doing that, kid. By the way, boy, when you drew that sword of yours out of its pedestal, did you by chance notice how all the monsters, frozen in time down there, suddenly began stirring again? The Gerudo nose is ridiculous. Well, you know, he's gotta have a look, right? Oh, Four Swords Adventures did it. Oh my god, that's right. Oh yeah, with Vaatu. Vaatu was a puppet of Ganondorf in that one? Or something like, or not puppet of, but worked for Ganondorf in that one? Was it Vaatu? I think it was Vaatu, right? It's been a while since I played that one. It was good, though. It was good. Vati, not Vaatu. Do you understand precisely what that means? I highly doubt you do. Foolish child, while that sword is indeed the blade of evil's bane, at the same time, it has long played another role. You see, it is also a sort of key, a most wretched little key, that has kept the seal on me and my magic intact. Imp asked, do you think the Forsaken Fortress has Gerudo pirates before Ganon came over? What are the Gerudo pirates of Majora's Mask? Maybe. I mean, the Gerudo had to go somewhere when the world flooded, right? It was hinted that Ganon was behind the events through name drops, the appearance of his mold, of his trident in ALTTP. What is ALTTP? Oh, Link to the Past. It only appears after Vati dies. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, at that point in the like production-wise in the series, Ganondorf was the big bad. He was a big deal. So, name dropping him as yes, well, this is really Ganon's plan. That makes sense. Even if he doesn't show up. No, he does right at the end, but not like relating to Vati. By withdrawing the blade, you have broken that seal. Uh-oh. What'd he do? Oh. They're very cool swords. They're very cool swords. I don't actually like them. Like, I would hate to use that monstrosity of a thing. It's like it's almost like a clip point falchion or something. Because it has the downsides of single edge, but upsides and downsides of single edge, but without a curve. It's weird. Anyway, you cannot defeat me with a blade that does not sparkle with the power to repel evil. What you hold is useless. They do look relatively Chinese. They do. Though they don't actually resemble any particular Chinese sword. Which I knew at the time. I was big into Chinese martial arts, so I recognize that. I would mistake Hylian writing as Chinese. Thought the squared off design was Chinese too. It has a weirdly Asiatic look, like East Asian look. I can't describe why, because it doesn't look anything like any particular Asian weapon. It's, vaguely close to a ninjato, I guess. But ninjatos were also a really weird late development, and they were just basically a cheaper way of making something katana-like. So, I don't know. I can't say. They're interesting. Honestly, blade profile, like, actually looking at it in terms of, like, historical weaponry, the blade profile looks far more European, even though they're styled to look more Eastern. So, I don't know, man. They're cool, though. They're really cool. I really like them. Like I said, I wouldn't like to use them, really. Although I assume they're relatively light, which I do like. I like a light sword. I don't know. They're really cool. Here's of the Kingdom Sword is more katana inspired. Okay. Which I get that. The Gerudo are vaguely Eastern, but more like, I feel like more, Near or maybe Middle Eastern. Its power is gone and its edges are dull. Hey! What the hell? Draw your tiny sword, Tetra! Link, get up! Stop! Let me go! You pathetic little sea rat. Oh. I didn't need to say that. Yeah, she doesn't even draw the tiny little sword. Like, come on. At least try. You think she'd try to poke an eye out or something? Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, she's quite nimble. She does flips and shit over his head. Anyway, after this cutscene, we are gonna have to call it, but my Triforce of power is resonating. Ha! At long last, I've found you, Princess Zelda. Oh, and we get the Ganondorf organ theme going in the back. Oh, listen to that. Love it. What? What are you talking about? I don't know any Zelda. Feigning ignorance will gain you nothing. Tell me, if you are not Zelda, then why do you have this fragment of the Triforce? Oh, the stone? Yeah, the forehead stone? I actually don't know. That's a good question. I always assumed it was jewelry, but it could be like a body modification kind of thing. I don't know. I assumed it was jewelry, though. Like a diadem or something. Although it doesn't look like a diadem. It does not attach in any way. I don't know how it clips there. Oh, you dig my Ganon voice? Thanks. I'm a very, very amateur voice actor. Ah, that's Vatu. Not Vati, Vatu. Toast him! Your voice was deep. I can do deeper, but wizards. Oh, you might be spoiled, Master. Fair. Valu. I can't get all these names right, okay? It's actually weird, my voice wise. I tend to speak very tenor, but my singing voice is somewhere in between low baritone and bass. I don't know why that is, but I can hit notes well in the much lower registers than when I speak. It's all right, Link. He's merely lost consciousness. Your sister's escaped the Forsaken Fortress with the pirates. You can relax. She's safe now. Lord Valu, you arrived not a moment too soon. We are deeply grateful. Hylian noises! I am aware of this. Yet I thought our first priority should be to separate these two from Ganon's grasp. Hylian noises! Kim Sim says, as a kid, when the King of the Red Lions talks about Ganon, you see him standing in a flaming room. I thought it took place after this scene. He simply turns around and goes back to brooding. Of course he goes back to brooding. I mean, I don't know, maybe he does. I don't know. Leave it to Ganon. Ganondorf would do that sort of thing. Oh no, my room's on fire. What do I do? My room has been set ablaze. Link, I will explain things later. Now we must return to the world beneath the sea. Valu saying that he doubted that Ganondorf was killed by being torched, leaving the rest to the King of the Red Lions and Link. Okay, yeah. When Valu spoke as a kid, I left it for a second, copied the text, took it to my neighbor who spoke Mandarin. He look at it, it's not Chinese. This is gibberish. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, okay. Oh hell. Link, you're all right? What is this place? In Ganondorf, what happened to him? Wait, what the heck? Link, what are you doing? You must come now to the room where you got the Master Sword. Why doesn't he just turn his face around and talk? Who's using the stone? Just who are you? Link and I are the only ones who can speak through this stone. How dare you use what's not yours? Your name is Tetra, correct? I mean, I know why technically, but he's the same person, right? Isn't he, or no? Oh, himself. Oh, that's right. Forgot about that. Okay, well, that'll be next time. You must come with Link to see me at once. Well, don't you sound important. Fine, we're on our way. Just hold your horses, whoever you are. Oh yeah, I want to talk to the boat. Yeah, let me check that before I go. Yeah, okay, I'm already late. Link, what are you waiting for? You heard the stone? You're supposed to show me how to get to where that voice is. Yeah, okay. I talk to the boat. I can't. There's no talking to the boat. There's no talk option. They're both ancient Hylian, okay? They're gonna sound the same. They gotta have gravitas. That's all. They sound similar. The King of the Red Lions rolls his R's. Anyway, all right, that's all I got time for. It is late, and I gotta get going. So, thank you so much for joining me. I had a wonderful time. I hope you did too. I'll see you next week. I'm gonna be doing it at the same time, same place, Tuesday night, all according to plan. So, with that, I wish you all good night. I'll see you then. If you're not in the Discord, join it. I'm gonna throw some. Oh no, I'm not talking the kiddos in. They're fast asleep. It's midnight. They better not be still awake. Jeez, better not be awake. But yeah, I'm gonna put a bunch of the stuff I was talking about into the description below, so check that out when you can. Otherwise, I'm also gonna throw some stuff in the Discord. Anyway, thank you all one more time for joining me. I had a great time. Hope you did too. Remember, don't be safe. Be well. More importantly, be good. Good night.